Was your agreement?
And I gave him that until they started trying to control the car, and then they decided they wanted it back.
Okay, so why didn't you give it back?
Because I didn't have a means of transportation.
Well, that's too bad. You're the mother. It's his car.
Well, his dad
messaged
back. Wanting it back. He
what?
didn't. His dad messaged wanting it back.
Who cares? His dad worked on it with him and paid for it. It's not yours. It's a very easy case. I don't have to ask you any more questions. You don't have to get involved with it anymore. You get your car back within 5 days.
Your Honor?
What?
We request not to get the car back because we don't...
well, if you don't want the car back, sir, I'm going to dismiss your case. You're not getting money. Do you understand?
We'll take the car back.
Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. We're clear on that.
Yes, Your Honor.
Great. You want the car back?
Yes, Your Honor.
Great. Within 5 days, go pick it up with the marshal. I know that she's not going to do anything to the car because the car really is her son's car.
Right.
It's not your car. Now,
I'm sorry.
then you have a counterclaim for money owed for car payments and repairs. Treat it as if you leased a car. You had a car for 5 months. You paid $500. It's $100 a month, $25 a week. You got a bargain. Your counterclaim's dismissed. Give him back the car. We're done. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
My opinion's the only one that counts.
She did not want to give the car back. She did not make the payments.
I think it was crazy. We could have settled it civilly.
We notified her by text in every way we could.
Just wasn't an option, I guess.
And she just ignored it until we had to take it to this point.
That now my relationship with my son can get back to normal and all this is just over.
Hopefully, maybe we can have a relationship again at some point.
Good evening, and thanks for joining us tonight for News 40 at 5. I'm Morgan Hoover.
And I'm Chris Allen. Welcome into a Wednesday.
Yes, and the first day of November. Hard to believe.
It's here. So October's gone. The trick-or-treaters are just pigging out on candy right now, as I have been as well. Yes, getting that sugar high, which we all need from time to time. 4-hour clouds and radar, hardly nothing showing up around here because of high pressure and the drier air that has taken over, and it's going to stay this way for a while, and we've got another chilly night ahead already, dropping into the mid-40s at the Tennessee state line and I-65, a beautiful day. Christian County near Hopkinsville, Mesonet site, 45 degrees currently. But tonight, one more hard freeze, and then we begin the warm-up, 27, your overnight low. A look at the next 7 days coming up in just a few minutes. Morgan?
All right, Chris, our top story tonight, current Attorney General Daniel Cameron made his way to South Central Kentucky as part of his Fight for Kentucky Values bus tour ahead of next week's election. Cameron made a stop at the Old French Restaurant in Glasgow and the Blue Cotton Factory in Bowling Green today. He was accompanied by former Kentucky swimmer Riley Gaines, Senator Rand Paul's wife, Kelly Paul, and Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders. At his stop in Barron County today, after a recent poll showed current Governor Andy Beshear is one of the most popular Democrats among Trump supporters. Here's what Cameron had to say in response.
Andy Beshear endorsed Joe Biden, and I can't think of anything that is more disrespectful to the people of Kentucky than having a governor here in Kentucky who would openly endorse a president whose economic policies are destroying the purchasing power and the savings account of our folks here in the Commonwealth.
Cameron will appear in Butler County as one of the final stops of his bus tour on Saturday, November 4th at 12:30 at the Farm Boy restaurant in Morgantown. Well, the time to cast your ballots is right around the corner. Early voting begins tomorrow. It continues till Saturday. We spoke to Secretary of State Michael Adams today, who said about 2% of Kentucky voters are using absentee ballots this year. That's pretty average, but according to Adams, there are still a large number of ballots yet to be turned in.
54,000 Kentucky voters asked for an absentee ballot, filed an application, and were sent a ballot. We've gotten back about 32,000 of those, so there's about 22,000 outstanding. There's only 6 days left. We got to have these ballots by 6 o'clock election night or they don't count.
Adams also spoke about the importance of voting, saying no matter the election, it's important to make sure your voice is heard.
We've had state house seats decided by, I think we had 6 decided by 35 votes or fewer recently. We had a race decided by 6 votes, one by 5 votes, and one that was a tie. This happens. We're not as red as people think that we are. We're a two-party state, especially in state election.
Again, early voting starts tomorrow and lasts through Saturday. If you're not sure where to go or are uncertain of your registration status, you can visit govote.gov. On more local news now, Halloween season is officially passed, but the Christmas holidays are right around the corner. Bowling Green Parks and Rec is wasting no time making preparations for the season. Today, the first of the Christmas lights were hung around Fountain Square Park. Downtown Lights Up will be presented by the City of Bowling Green on the 1st of December. More details and activities will be added as they are announced closer to the holiday season. Now to Simpson County, the Franklin Simpson Fire and Rescue Station is getting a few new additions. After an official meeting, the station is hiring 2 24-hour full-time firemen. There'll be 2 firemen on call from home. This will ensure that crews are ready to go no matter what time it is.
After 4 o'clock, we are a volunteer fire service, so we all have to come from home here to the station and then, to the scene. So by having employees here around the clock 24/7, we'll be able to get out the door that much quicker, and that's going to benefit the community and our response times.
Chief Goodrum says the decision to have firemen working 24-hour shifts will positively impact the station and the Franklin Simpson community. November is National Adoption Month. The Family Enrichment Center in Bowling Green is celebrating that declaration. During the celebration, the center made a promise to do all that they can to help children in the area find parents to adopt them, but also to invite the community to do their part in encouraging friends and loved ones to adopt if they're able.
We want to let people know about the availability of adoption. If people are looking to adopt or interested in adoption, that they can ask questions to us, and we can help people find the right path for them to complete their family.
For more information about adoption and other services, visit FamilyEnrichmentCenter.com. Happening around the Commonwealth, students in Kentucky have shown some improvement in statewide test scores, especially among elementary school-aged kids. Metcalfe County schools say that all 3 of their schools saw improvement in the last year, with middle school scores rising more than 20 points overall, making them one of the most improved middle schools in the state. Warren County Public Schools are celebrating an 8.5% increase in high school graduates from May of 2022 to May of 2023. But state education officials say considerable work remains to get back to pre-pandemic achievement levels when schools shifted to virtual learning to keep people safe. Despite the gains, many Kentucky students from elementary to high school continue to struggle across a range of core subjects. Those struggles reflect a nationwide problem of lacking academic achievement. Governor Andy Beshear is issuing a state of emergency today as crews are still working to rescue a man trapped after an 11-story building collapses last night. Officials say 2 men were working inside a coal preparation plant in Martin County, preparing it for demolition when the building collapsed. 1 man was killed. Rescuers are still searching for the second worker.
The rescue attempts that are going on and went on last night, those rescuers' lives are in danger as we speak. They're going into a very unstable structure, and they're in efforts to save lives. And so, they're going to risk a lot to gain a lot.
An official at the scene said the work is slow going. It could turn into a multi-day operation. And it's been nearly 7 months since the tragic shooting at the Old National Bank in Louisville left 5 people dead. Tonight, the families of the victims are seeking justice against the company that manufactured the gun used.
He was such a good man. He loved his family.
For Karen Tutt, time has not eased the pain of losing her husband, Jim. He was one of 5 people killed when a gunman opened fire at Old National Bank in downtown Louisville in April. Her life hasn't been the same since that dark morning, And now she says she's fighting to stop mass killings from happening across the country.
Taking legal action appears to be the only way to make a change.
Attorneys representing Tut, as well as other victims' family members and some survivors, say they intend to file a lawsuit against the company that manufactured the AR-15 rifle used in the Old National shooting.
This is a terrible tragedy for our community that's we hope to get some justice for by filing this lawsuit.
They believe the gun manufacturer violated the Kentucky Consumer Protection Act in the way it marketed the product to the public. But for now, they're waiting for investigations by LMPD, the FBI, and other law enforcement agencies to determine whether the manufacturing and sale of the weapon fall within the scope of a lawsuit.
It is time for manufacturers to take some level of responsibility. They have stood in the way of every piece of legislation that has ever been contemplated that may do something to ensure that weapons of mass murder don't get into the hands of people who would do harm.
While cases against the gun industry are typically an uphill battle, it's a fight attorneys believe is needed to get justice.
He couldn't have had that level of damage without a semi-automatic weapon. And so to honor Jim, it will be my purpose to try to make a difference and a change for good.
Well, still to come on News 40 at 5, lung cancer is the leading cause of cancer deaths in the U.S. When we come back, we'll learn the new guidelines for screenings in just a bit. But first, Weather Chief Chris Allen is back after the break with a full look at our forecast. That's coming up next.
WNKY News 40, broadcasting live from the German American Bank studio in downtown Bowling Green.
Do you have musty smells coming up from your crawl space? USS is here to help. Neglected crawl spaces and excessive moisture can cause mold, unwanted pests, wood rot, and high energy bills. A USS encapsulation system will help prevent these issues and improve the air quality in your crawl space, making the air in your home cleaner and healthier for you and your family. Visit USS-KY.com for a free estimate.
We'll guarantee our best. Call USS.
What would Daniel Cameron's Medicaid plan mean for my patients?
He's threatening to take away health care coverage from over 95,000 Kentuckians.
It's very scary that people are not going to have health coverage.
People will not be able to see their doctors. People will not be able to buy medicines.
Many rural hospitals will end up closing their doors.
Cameron is still following his pal, Matt Bevin.
I don't know why you do that.
I don't think Daniel Cameron understands what Kentuckians are going through.
And that is not acceptable for a governor.
At Infinity Pipeline, your family is our family. Our employees are the foundation of what we do. And what matters to you matters to us. We're now hiring the next generation of skilled workers to help grow our community. Apply now. InfinityPipeInc.com.
There's nothing quite as cozy and comfortable as a recliner from Ford's, like this power recliner in top grain leather with cup holders, phone charger, and lumbar support for only $8.99. Or this leather swivel glider for only $6.99. Now at Ford's Furniture.
No one wins alone.
NASCAR is really a team sport.
You need your mechanics, your pit crew to make everything come together.
No different at Morgan & Morgan. That attorney has a great team behind him that makes them the winning team.
Bowling Green Fireplace and Grill.
We're back with Weather Chief Chris Allen. Chris, it's not too bad of a start to November.
Yeah, not bad. I mean, we've ended up like yesterday, around 50. Most everybody in the upper 40s to around 50 for the first day of November. But we've got a nice little warm-up.
Yes, looking forward to that.
Yeah, so you won't have to crank up the heat so much over the coming days. Temperature trend is on the upswing, and here we go. Like kind of like climbing a hill. Here come the 60s, here come the 70s. As we get into the upcoming weekend, high pressure taking over. Southerly wind flow is going to make it feel like it should this time of the year. 65 to 68 is where we ought to be for this time of the year. But then once we get into Monday late, we start to see rain chances come up and then a cold front, which is going to push our temperatures back down. And here we go again, colder temperatures by the middle of next week when our normal should be 65. So it's coming. Morning lows. 20s everywhere, 26 here. Look at that, 21 is what you fell to in Litchfield for an overnight low this morning. That's the lowest temperatures recorded, 20 in Elkton. And it looks like we're going to get close to these numbers again tonight. One more really chilly night ahead for us. 49 is the temperature now in Bowling Green. We've hit 50 for a high so far. Most everybody mid to upper 40s to around 50 is your high temperatures for the day. Dew points are falling, as you see, very dry in the 20s. That always is an indication this time of the year just about where we're going to fall for temperatures tonight. 49, as I mentioned, from the airport. The winds are calm. At least we don't have a breeze like we did yesterday. Humidity at a dry 36%. The dew point at 23. Barometer falling. Look how high it is, though, 30.38. And that's the influence of high pressure over the region. And there it sits over southwestern Arkansas, encompassing the entire Ohio Valley, Tennessee Valley, and beyond. And we're going to start to get more of that warmer southerly flow as that high pressure center begins to move off to the east. There you see the arrows pointing north, which means we're getting a southerly wind flow into Thursday and on into Friday. Beautiful weather for the next few days. The best news of all for you is that it is going to warm up and you won't have to crank up the heat as high as you've had to do the last several nights. Tonight, one more time, 27 for the overnight low and mainly clear with, yes, another hard freeze, but this time the winds will be calm as it was not last night for the trick-or-treaters. 55, a bit warmer tomorrow. Then we go 60 on Friday, 66 on Saturday. We fall back 1 hour. Remember, 2 a.m. Sunday morning. Yeah, boy, better remember that one. 68 for the high, 72 on Monday with a chance of showers. There's Election Day on Tuesday. We are calling for showers, 64. And then that cool down that I explained earlier is going to begin to happen on Wednesday. And here's what's coming up tonight on NBC 40.
The Haven at Massey Springs is a special place. Alzheimer's and dementia residents need a special kind of care. So at the Haven, we take care of your loved one just like family. Our memory care program stimulates minds in a therapeutic environment and caters a plan of care as unique as your loved one.
Here at Massey Springs, family takes care of family, and it shows. Schedule your tour with us today.
Join the WNKY News 40 weather team. Visit WNKY.com to become a weather watcher.
My opponent's campaign is built on attacks and lies. But you know me, and you know it isn't true. We've been through a lot together, and now we're building the Commonwealth we've always dreamed of. We're a leader in economic growth, tens of thousands of new jobs, our lowest unemployment rate ever, delivering on major infrastructure projects and bringing high-speed internet everywhere. We're building a bright future here for all of our families.
Washington liberals are lying about Russell Coleman, all to cover up the fact that their own candidate doesn't even have a Kentucky law license. Pam Stevenson is an unqualified anti-police radical we can't trust. Make the right choice. Russell Coleman, an experienced law and order prosecutor. His record is clear. Coleman puts sex offenders away for good. That's why Kentucky law enforcement backs Russell Coleman, the tough on crime choice for Attorney General.
Summer skies, they warm up everything. Then fall comes around, and you know it's getting near. Christmas, my favorite Christmas the way Santa does.
It's the leading cause of cancer deaths in the U.S., but today the American Cancer Society released new guidelines for lung cancer screenings. The organization is now recommending nearly 5 million more adults who smoke or used to smoke be tested. It's a potentially deadly disease. Lung cancer kills more people in the U.S. than colon, breast, and prostate cancers combined. But early detection can save lives.
Only about 5% of those that are eligible for lung cancer screening actually are being screened.
Previously, the recommendation was for anyone between the ages of 50 to 80, with at least a 20-pack per year smoking history, who currently smoke cigarettes or quit within the past 15 years, to be screened annually for lung cancer. But the American Cancer Society is now advising doctors to remove that time since quit criteria.
What we found was that while there was initially sort of a decrease or leveling of a risk of lung cancer, as a patient ages, the risk of lung cancer increases significantly.
Dr. William Dayhut says this update will make it easier to know who should be screened for lung cancer.
People don't have to sort of calculate when someone quits smoking. And by changing our guidelines, we're actually going to increase the number of eligible patients by about 37%. And which means by about 5 million more Americans will now be eligible for lung cancer screening.
The screening is a quick low-dose CT scan of the chest. Since coverage is largely driven by screening recommendations from the U.S. Preventative Services Task Force, and that agency has not currently adopted this update. Insurance may or may not cover lung cancer screenings based on this updated ACS guideline. But Dayhut hopes that will change.
We're hopeful that once our guidelines are in place, people will look at the value of that.
The American Cancer Society says if lung cancer is found early, the chances of being cured are much higher. There are new drugs and treatments that can help improve chance of survival as well. The Food and Drug Administration is one step closer to approving a groundbreaking new treatment for sickle cell disease. Advisors to the FDA are discussing a therapy that uses a genetic modification process. It's called CRISPR. Doctors fix the genetic problems in a patient's own stem cells and then give those cells back to the patient in a one-time infusion. In company studies, the treatment was considered safe. Right now, the only therapy approved to cure the blood disease is a bone marrow or stem cell transplant. Well, the U.S. infant mortality rate is up for the first time in more than 20 years. That's according to a report released today. It found the overall infant mortality rate rose by 3% from 2021 to 2022. Experts say infant mortality is often a useful benchmark for a country's health system at large, but say this rise could be an isolated case or a sign of an underlying health care issue. Experts will need to see next year's data to be certain. Well, still to come on News 40 at 5, the U.S. economy is booming as the Federal Reserve continues their fight against high inflation. When we come back, we'll learn why the economy can't exhale just yet. Stay with us.
Home is more than a house. Wherever you are in your journey of homeownership, German American Bank is here to support you. Our team of dedicated mortgage loan professionals can help you with lending solutions featuring low or no down payment, assistance for closing costs and improvement projects, or even loans specifically for first-time home buyers. We're here to tell you, homeownership is achievable. German American Bank, member FDIC.
Injured? Morgan & Morgan is a dominant force.
Morgan & Morgan is in a league of its own.
Need a big play? Morgan & Morgan has your back. Just call Morgan & Morgan & Morgan or visit orthepeople.com.
Recovery is strength.
Recovery is courage.
For me, recovery is freedom. My road to recovery is full of pain.
It redeemed me from a life of pain, darkness, and complete oblivion.
Recovery showed me a strength I didn't know that I had.
Addiction is part of my past, and my past has been redeemed.
Find the courage to live a healthier you.
For strength against addiction, visit landmarkrecovery.com
or call 866
Landmark today.
Just rocking and rolling, baby.
Cut back tomorrow.
We got you all fixed up. Got it all fixed up for you, man. Let there be light, ma'am.
Looks like she finally called JB.
Sundays are for football. WNKY 40 is your go-to for the NFL. Watch games all day on WNKY, CBS 40, and NBC 40.
Attention parents, an important recall to put on your radar if you have this Costco Jump, Spin, and Play Activity Center. The company that makes it says to stop using it immediately. It's being recalled because the straps can detach or break while your child is playing in it, potentially causing injury. If you have one of these, you can call the company about getting a replacement. The activity center is exclusively sold at Walmart. All eyes on the U.S. Federal Reserve today as the central bank is holding interest rates steady amid a growing economy despite continued high inflation. But high interest rates and high prices are putting consumers in a bind, even as wages slowly rise. Mike Valerio has more details.
The economy is booming. The highest interest rates in more than 20 years yet to dampen the jobs market, home prices, or consumer spending. However, the increased cost of borrowing will likely take a toll in the months ahead.
Expect the Federal Reserve to maintain a vigilant posture, even if they're not raising rates, just in an effort to keep conditions tight and push inflation closer to that 2% mark. There's also some concern about the health of a lot of consumers.
Consumers are wary. Confidence in the economy is down for the third month in a row, even as spending and wages are up.
Inflation is hit hardest in categories that are absolute necessities. Household expenses are considerably higher than they were just a few years ago, and the income may not have kept up.
And for many, that means more borrowing.
I think if you paint with a broad brush, it ignores the reality that about 60% of households are living paycheck to paycheck. We've seen credit card balances going up at a time when credit card rates are at a record high.
While the economy has remained stronger for longer than economists anticipated, Bankrate.com's Greg McBride says a downturn could still come in 2024, and people should be prepared if and when recession hits.
Pay down debt, particularly high-cost debt like credit cards, boost your emergency savings. That's going to be a buffer between you and high-cost debt if you have an income disruption.
I'm Mike Valerio reporting.
A quick tip for those looking to save. Americans with savings accounts could be getting more money from their banks, but you might not even know about it. Many banks are offering savings accounts with really good interest rates, but customers aren't getting that interest because they don't know about it. Researchers say about 1/5 of Americans with savings accounts don't know how much interest they're getting, and those who know say they are getting less than 3%. That is about 2% less than what they could be getting. Stay with us. We'll have a final look at your forecast right after this.
During the COVID pandemic, I fought against Washington's unconstitutional assault on our rights. In Kentucky, Daniel Cameron did the same. When Andy Beshear shut down our places of worship, Cameron led the fight to reopen churches, taking Governor Beshear to court, and Cameron won and ensured that you had the right to worship freely. That's why I'm voting for Daniel Cameron, because no matter the fight, Cameron will safeguard your rights.
Protect Freedom PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Looking to shop for a cause or to donate to a local nonprofit store? Visit the Habitat Restore of Bowling Green, located at the corner of 8th and Center across from the Bowling Green Ballpark. Call or visit our website today to learn more.
At Infinity Pipeline, your family is our family. Our employees are the foundation of what we do. And what matters to you matters to us. We're now hiring the next generation of skilled workers to help grow our community. Apply now. InfinityPipeInc.com.
As Kentucky families struggled, Joe Biden brags.
Bidenomics is working.
Andy Beshear agrees. Beshear backed Biden's disastrous economic policies. Now he's endorsing Biden for re-election.
This president delivered.
For Andy Beshear, he did, giving $250,000 to fund his agenda.
I want to thank the president.
Beshear's with Biden. Trump backs Daniel Cameron. If you stand with Trump, vote Cameron for governor. Club for Growth Action is responsible for the content of this ad.
My opponent's campaign is built on attacks and lies. But you know me, and you know it isn't true. We've been through a lot together, and now we're building the Commonwealth we've always dreamed of. We're a leader in economic growth, tens of thousands of new jobs, our lowest unemployment rate ever, delivering on major infrastructure projects and bringing high-speed internet everywhere. We're building a bright future here for all of our families.
Saturdays are for football. WNKY 40 is your college football headquarters. Watch games all day on WNKY, CBS 40, and NBC 40.
Welcome back, Chris. It is hard to believe daylight saving time starts this weekend. We got to change those clocks back.
1 hour. That's right. We fall back this weekend.
Yes. Hard to believe it's that time of year, but it is. And, you know, I'll try not to be late on Monday, but no promises.
Yeah, well,
always
okay.
happens. I'm telling you now, it's my excuse why I am late.
I'll call and remind you. And also remind you that it's daylight saving time, not savings time, which is what we always say.
Yes, not a savings account.
Yes, it's kind of like that.
Right.
So we fall back 1 hour, spring forward in the spring 1 hour, and despite what you may have heard, the law hasn't been passed yet that we're going to do that permanently. But anyway, 55 tomorrow and sunny.
All right, Chris, we'll see you at 6.
I should have worn makeup.